Guys, welcome to our channel. Today I'm coming at you with a new Teen Wolf recap review. This is for season 6, which as many of us already know, it's going to be the final season. So this is the first half season that they're doing. So we do know that they're going to be splitting this up, as is the usual with Teen Wolf lately. The past few seasons, they split the seasons up into two parts. Each half season is a little different than the other. The new story, a new plot twist. So this first 10 episodes that we're going to be talking through every week is going to be on season 6A, which means it's the first half season of season 6. So it's been a while since we've actually come and we've congregated and talked about Teen Wolf and finally just let ourselves enjoy this show. So it's been a couple months and we've had some setbacks, some rescheduling issues with Teen Wolf, but now we're back. We're going to jump right in. So the first episode of season 6 is called Memory Lost. So this first episode, I'm like kind of split on it. I really enjoyed it. I mean, as a whole, an episode as a whole, I thought it was very good. It was packed with action. There was enough humor in it that I felt like it was still okay. It wasn't too like intense. There was a lot of intensity, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there was a good medium with this episode. So I'm going to try to keep this simple. I'm going to try to keep it quick. I'm going to go through key points, tell you what's going on. We're going to talk about what happened in the show, my reaction to it, some things I like, some questions I have, and then we're going to just talk a little bit about the preview and what's to come. So let's just get it out of the way. I mean, this season we know it's going to be the Ghost Riders. What they are, we're still trying to figure that out completely, but it seems that whatever the Ghost Riders, like when somebody notices the Ghost Riders, essentially it's already too late for that person, because if they've seen them, then that begins the hunt for the Ghost Riders to take them. Takes them into another, I want to say, a dimension of sorts, where they're basically they don't exist anymore in our natural realm here. So when they take somebody, all the existence of this person is gone, which means that everything that they've kind of influenced and all their stuff, everything is just erased and there's no memory of them. So that's going to be where, at this point, what we're working towards with the pack in this season. I'm going to start out talking about Liam and what I call Liam and Company, which is Liam and Hayden and Mason and Corey. So everybody's back at school. It's their senior year for the main cast, and for Liam and the other kids, it's, I don't know, I think it's junior year, I want to say. I'm not quite sure what year they're in, but new year in school. Liam and his friends, they happen upon some new leads in school. Some weird stuff is happening, and they're coming across a new baddie in school. Who that is, we're not sure yet, but we know that it's going to lead to something probably bigger. This season, or this episode especially, is really setting up for Liam to see if maybe he could take over for Scott once Scott graduates, and him and Styles and the main pack members leave for college or whatever they plan to do. The mantle's going to have to be passed to Liam and probably Mason and Corey, to see if they could try to keep Beacon Hill safe while the others are away. So that's going to be a big plot that they're going to have to explore with Liam, maybe trying to get him to come into his own, to really flourish and be an alpha, see if he can do it. Right now, I mean, he's just a beta. He's still learning. That's understandable, but time's ticking and we got to see what's going to happen there. Okay, so what's going on with Scott and Styles? So we've heard from Jeff Davis throughout this whole break between 5B and 6A about how he wants to really explore the relationship with Styles and Scott. So where are they at right now? episode, we kind of just start off kind of figuring that Scott and Styles know that they're going to be leaving for college. They're kind of fearing that, they're not needed anymore in Beacon Hills, and there's been, I guess, some time of quiet, a few months where they haven't had any problems or issues. So at this point, I guess they feel like they're not needed. Well, not exactly so, because there just so happens to be a new case for Sheriff Stilinski to have to try to figure out, which is the disappearance of two parents for a little boy named Alex. Now, we find out that the ghostwriters are indeed the ones who took Alex's parents, and eventually they're coming for Alex too. His parents, they're forgotten at this point. They're disappearing. All of the evidence of who they are, everything, it's not being remembered anymore. So Sheriff Stilinski calls upon the help of Styles and Scott, whom they have to jump right into action. It's their thing. So eventually they talk to the little boy, they try to find out information. Scott tries to see his memories, but he knows that somebody in a horse took Alex's parents. So they eventually go to where Alex lives. They see everything is basically non-existent of the parents except for one room, which is Alex's room. And in that room, Styles alone ends up finding or looking under the bed, and he sees the hooves of a horse, and which is not good, because if you see the ghost riders or if you see the hunt, then that means it's already too late and they're coming for you. So we know pretty early on that Styles is going to be taken. We've known from Jeff Davis letting us know throughout the break who's going to be taken by the Ghost Riders. We know that it's going to be Styles, so this is really just letting us know how and what's going on. So basically, that's where this episode starts. That's where you really start getting the feel and knowing where we're going to go plot-wise in this season. What about the rest of the cast? Which, of course, everybody always wants to know what's going on with Lydia. Well, same old Banshee. She kind of gets feelings and premonitions about things. In this case and in this episode, she's kind of feeling something's a little off as per usual, and it happens to be that Styles is going to be taken. She's trying to figure out what the supernatural power is, or what it is that is coming at them in Beacon Hills. So basically that's where Lydia is on this episode. Where's Malia? Well, Malia, as we can see in this first episode, has full control of her shape-shifting powers. So she's able to shift into a were-coyote and back into a human at will. It has to obviously be a connection with her taking the powers from her mother, Corinne, the Desert Wolf, in the last season. So we see early on in this first episode how much her powers have grown and how much she's grown as a character. So that's always a good sign. That's always good. So another thing that everybody is constantly talking about is relationships, and which person is with who and who's the pair. So let's just jump right in to who's with who in this first episode. So I got it right here. First of all, Liam and Hayden still a pair. Obviously, Mason and Corey still going strong. Scott is loveless this season, but rumors have it that Arden Cho will be back for season 6B. This hasn't been yet confirmed, but I'll keep following the story along our way. If more details come in, I'll let you know. We'll talk a little more about that if we find out more, and if it's true, great. I love Kira. What else? Malia, single as a Pringle. There was a leaked scene for Teen Wolf with a new character named Nathan and with Malia. Whether or not they're together, I don't know. It appears that they might physically be, but I mean, we don't know. A lot of times these leaked scenes lead you to weird things. They're just like to throw you off. Who's to say? I'm not sure why they leaked this scene or how they're gonna play that into this whole scenario. But I mean, we'll still follow along with that, see what happens. Those of you who love Styles and Lydia together, this may be your season or it may not. I'm not exactly sure how they're gonna progress this relationship. It seems very, very likely that they're gonna be it's gonna be a romantic relationship with them. I don't mind Styles and Lydia together as long as it was done right. And I feel that if this is the route that they're going, if they're going to make them to be together in the season, then at this very point in time, they did it completely wrong. I feel that, you know, some things that Styles' script or what he was saying in this episode kind of makes me feel that Styles is turning into a total jerkwad here. Why I say this? Well, in Roscoe, when Styles is going to be taken by the Ghost Riders, he's talking to Lydia, explaining to her that to not forget him, basically. He's pleading with her, don't forget him. He's telling her, remember that they saved each other's lives and everything, this and that. He's telling her that she's the girl he had a crush on her freshman year and sophomore year and junior year. Now, junior year, he was with Malia during junior year. So does that mean that Styles just used her? That she was kind of just there for the time being because he couldn't have Lydia? Does that mean that everything that he was with Malia just went out the window and it just makes no sense, or that it doesn't matter to him because he was brooding over the fact that he couldn't get the girl he wanted, so he just took whatever was there? I don't know. To me, that kind of makes Styles seem like a total jerk. So how could he say that he was in love or had a crush on Lydia during junior year, even though he was proclaiming his love to another girl? I mean, Malia practically was living with him. They were together for quite a while, up until like season 5. So I don't know. That's kind of like a really messed up thing, I think, for Styles to do. So I don't know where they're going with this whole scene. Styles tells Lydia to remember that he loves her. Okay, so, or that he's in love with her or whatever. So, like, does this mean that he's in love with her, or does it mean that he just loves her like a friend? So that's something I don't know where they're going to go with in here. Excuse the background noise. That's my little puppy. She's very rambunctious and she loves to bark. So I don't know. Personally, I feel like if Styles and Lydia were to be together, it shouldn't have been something rushed, because in my mind, you know, it's always been a one-sided relationship where Styles has liked or has been like had a crush, as he put it, on Lydia for first few seasons or whatever. Lydia showed absolutely no interest in him whatsoever. I understand that there was the one kiss or whatever that everybody else still talks about, but I mean, let's be real, she only kissed him to stop his anxiety attack. It wasn't something romantic or that they were going to make something big of it. So, I mean, from the very beginning of the show to this first episode of season 6, there has literally been no romantic chemistry between Styles and Lydia. I know a lot of people really dig that and they really want it to happen. If it happened, I wouldn't really care. But what I want is for it to make sense, for it to be a good transition and not something that is just forced upon because of fan servicing or because too much people complained or wanted it to happen so bad that Jeff Davis and the creative team decided to just force it in there. And then to try to make it seem like Malia never happened or that she didn't matter. And also, I mean, it's not just one-sided with Styles, because Lydia has been with everybody basically. I mean, Jackson and Aiden and Parrish. And what about Parrish? So are they just gonna drop Parrish and pretend he never happened? So that's something I have a really big problem with that in this episode. If they don't make them a couple, Styles and Lydia, fine, that's fine too. But I mean, I want to see things transition smoothly. I don't want things to be rushed. And I feel that at this point, they kind of forced that little scene in there to kind of fan service, but not really give you enough information or enough transition to show if they are in love. How so? Why did Lydia change her opinion on Styles to begin with? Because she's never shown to be in love with Styles. You can say otherwise, but I mean, the facts are there. We can see all the episodes. She's never really been digging him that way. So that's my little rant on this whole relationship thing. So let's talk about Styles being taken by the Ghost Riders. We know early on that he sees the hooves on the bottom of Alex's bed. When Styles is in his house, he's looking under the bed. He sees the hooves, so we know he's seen the Ghost Riders, or he's seen the hunt. So it means bad for Styles. They're gonna get him. So what do we see? Okay, so basically, this is the ghost hunt. Styles is going to be, or is, forgotten. Okay, evidence of Styles being forgotten. Well, there was a yearbook photo shoot that they were doing for their school. Styles explains that he already filled out his application for the yearbook photos. When he opens up this paper, it's blank. Kind of felt something was off there, but kind of just blew it off. Eventually, we see Styles and Scott, and they're on the lacrosse field in the little tunnel area kind of thing. And we see that somebody else is wearing Styles' jersey, his lacrosse jersey. So, I mean, some way Styles is being forgotten, because I mean, his application doesn't exist now. His part on the team doesn't exist because there's a new player in his uniform. So eventually we start seeing little bits and pieces that he's being forgotten. A big old mess happens at the school. The sheriff goes, the police and everybody. School's basically under fire because Liam and company found a dead body in the boiler room or whatever. So, I mean, of course there's has to be cops there. So Styles shows up really in a hurry because he wants to make sure Liam and Hayden are okay, because on the road they seen, or what they believe they seen, was the Ghost Riders. They hadn't actually seen them yet. So Styles and Scott are in fear for Liam and Hayden. So when Styles gets to the school, he goes to Lydia's mom, Miss Martin, and turns out she doesn't remember Styles. Okay, so he runs to Hayden and Liam and Corey, and he's trying to talk to them, see if they're okay. They don't remember him. They don't know who he is or even if he exists. He's freaking out at this point. So he runs to his dad. He falls in his dad's arms, thinks, okay, well, my dad is going to surely remember me. Sheriff Stilinski does not remember Styles. Sad. Really sad. That part got to me. I mean, that's his dad. So, what else? Well, he calls Scott. Okay, Styles calls Scott. Scott doesn't know who he is. So, his best friend forgets him. And all the while, Malia is basically solving how the hunt works, or how it's like, she basically helps Lydia figure out what's happening. And Lydia finally, with the help of Malia, understands what they have to do and who's going next, and it's Styles. And Lydia mentions Styles, and Malia doesn't know who Styles is. So everybody's basically forgotten Styles at this point. It's happening really quick now. So Lydia runs to Styles and they get in Roscoe, and then this is where they have the conversation that I mentioned earlier about Styles telling Lydia that he loves her. They know that the Ghost Riders are right around the corner. They're gonna take him. It's happening. So what happens then? Styles tells Lydia, remember me, don't forget me, whatever. So he ends up being taken out of the car. The Ghost Riders take him. Styles is gone. Fast forward to the next day at school, I believe. Everybody's there. They're happy. They're at school. It's in the morning. They're all with their friends. Lydia walks into the school. Her friends come to greet her. She looks puzzled. She's like, I have to remember something. They're like, what? She forgot. So everybody at this point has forgotten Styles. So his whole existence, I guess, basically at this point is gone. Everybody who was affected by Styles, something's altered. And I feel that we're going to have to the characters are going to fill this void. See what I did there? Void Styles. They're going to feel a void of Styles, and they're going to feel like maybe something's off because he was such a prominent part of their lives. So, I mean, this is a really big thing. I mean, how are they going to remember him? I don't know. In the previews or in the trailers for this season, it appears that Lydia will know, or is going to be the one to know where Styles is. I don't have a problem with this. I don't have a problem in the sense that she's a banshee and she's supposed to have certain premonitions about people and about spirits and things like that. So I kind of would understand if they would use it in that way. However, it seems that they're going to use it that Styles and Lydia have such a strong connection that's why that she would remember him. I'm not sure if this is how they're going to go about it. It's just what I see on the trailers and what it looks like is the route that they're going. Why I have a problem with that is how is it that some girl that he's only had a crush on and some girl who's never reciprocated those feelings could know and feel Styles stronger than his best friend of life, than the first girl he's ever been with, than all the rest of his friends, and more importantly, how would she feel a stronger connection to him than the man who was responsible for his existence, his dad? So that's a big kind of red flag going up if that's what they're gonna do. I don't like that, but we'll see how things play out. Another thing I want to go over is questions that I have for the season. So in the trailers we see Peter is talking to Styles about them not existing. When did Peter get taken? Last we seen him, what was he in Icon House? So, I mean, I believe that's the last time we seen him. I can't recall seeing him any time sooner than that. So what happened to Peter? How long ago has he been gone? Why haven't we heard about him? Has he been gone longer than we thought? Is that why he hasn't been in this last half season? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to question with that. What happened to Peter? I mean, if Peter doesn't exist, what then happens to Malia, because he is her reason for existing? I mean, that's her father. So does that mean that she doesn't exist? And is this just a domino effect? If Styles doesn't exist and nobody can remember him, then does that mean that everything that happened with him as the Nogitsune is reversed? And does that mean that possibly Allison is alive? So if this is the case that they're going, I feel like they would need a lot of explanation and to do it really well. Otherwise, things are just going to probably fall apart for this season. I mean, in terms of the directors and the writing and the flow of the show, if it's not done right, I feel like it can just really be bad for their viewers. It can be bad for the producers and everything like that. I just feel like if they put so much effort, they should do it right. And also, if Scott or Styles is forgotten, how is it that Scott would be a werewolf, and is he going to be a werewolf? Because ultimately it was because Styles wanted to go look for a dead body in the woods that Scott ends up becoming a werewolf and getting bit by Peter. So where are we going with that? I want to know. Another fun thing I want to talk about is the opening sequence, which is the main title, the main theme of the show. I do and I don't have a problem with this. Again, I feel like with this episode, I was very split. I do like things, I don't like things. I don't know. Again, this is the first episode, so it's establishing things. What I did like with the opening title, the song, the sequence, was that we finally have the parents in the main sequence. It's taken so long until the final season. I mean, Mama McCall has been there the entire time. Why hasn't she been there? Sheriff Stilinski. I mean, the whole pack. Everybody depends on Chris Argent. Now that they're finally in the opening sequences, I'm like, kudos to them. I'm feeling it. I'm excited. One thing I don't like is, why are they using old pictures? Why are they using old recaps of the characters? I mean, they're not new. I mean, if this is the last season, I think they could have pushed and put a little more effort into the opening title, that they could have had newer pictures or newer, at least something, at least from last season, not like going back to season 3 or whatever with these old pictures that they put of them or their old sequences. So I feel like maybe that's something they could work on. Last but not least, let's talk about the preview for the next episode. So we see that Malia is without her anchor, which, as we've known, it's kind of believed that Styles was her anchor. He helped her control her shifting on the moons, full moons. He helped her kind of gain control of being a were-coyote, and how she could use her powers, and how she keeps grounded and not so out of control. So in the next episode, we're going to see a little bit how Styles' absence is affecting that. How maybe in this sense she doesn't have her anchor anymore. So, I mean, that's something that we're going to, I don't know. Do I like it? Do I not like it? We'll see. We'll see if they do it right. As I said before, if they don't do the season right, I feel it's just really bad for the last half season, because they still have to have their premiere for that. In terms of every premiere of every season so far, season 6 has undoubtedly been the lowest rating season premiere for Teen Wolf. Why? I don't know. Maybe because they kind of just fumbled with things in the last half season, that they kind of just threw everything together, shook it up, and just let it explode, and it was kind of a mess. Overall, I think season 5, the 5A was really good. 5B kind of just seemed rushed for me. After I went back, rewatched, I thought about it. Seems a bit rushed and a bit much happening. So maybe if they can, in this particular season, kind of keep to one. I know they're probably not, but if they can try to limit their villains to maybe one, if they have to do 2, hopefully they just introduce a second one, which will be a foreshadowing for the second half season. But I think if they jumble too much too soon in one half season, it's just recipe for disaster. It's what they did in the last season. I mean, they had the Beast of Jevudan, they had Theo, they had the Dread Doctors, they had like all of this like chaos going on, broken friendships and broken romances, and everything was just the Skinwalkers. Everything was just like too much, too soon, too bottled, too quick. And I feel like that maybe was a recipe for disaster for them last half season, and that's why they had bad ratings for this first premiere for season 6. So if they can figure out, if they have figured out, I mean, there's not really much they can probably do at this point, given that the season's already going. So hopefully at this point they took notes, they figured out that maybe forcing too much was too much. So I don't know, those are my thoughts on it. Overall, like I said before, I'm really split on this episode. There's so much of it that I love, and as a whole, I like this episode. But when I really pick apart certain things, and I'm just being really picky here, I'm just really like being very like a jerk about it. I really want to like dive into each episode, each story plot in each episode, and really dig into there, see what's going on, talk about it. As a Teen Wolf community, we need to get involved. This is our last chance, and so like I want to make this big. So like basically, I do like this episode. I do have good high hopes for the season, even though it may not sound like I do. I do have high hopes for the season. Hopefully everything comes out right. Hopefully everything is good and dandy and we all are satisfied with it. If not, then I don't know what to tell myself, because I'm going to be very upset. But because this is the last season and I've been hooked on the show for like 6 years, so I'm gonna go for it. I can't not watch it. So that will do it for my ramble on, my recap, my review on this episode. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them in the comment section. I will get back to you without a doubt. I will respond to you. If we want to start a conversation, I am there for you. Aside from that, that'll do it for me for this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Spread the word about this channel, because I'm going to be doing this for this last season. And if you have any suggestions for videos, if you want me to dive into something specific with Teen Wolf, and whatever you feel like you want to see, let me know. I will do my best to get that up for you. And aside from that, I hope you have a good day, good week. We'll see you next Teen Wolf video.